Los Angeles has been kind to him. Super Bowl ring, legacy cemented, nothing left. But sometimes the story isn't finished just because you got your happy ending somewhere. Sometimes the greatest chapters are written when you come back home. Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report, daily source of breaking news, exclusive updates, and deep analysis on our beloved Detroit Lions. I'm here to bring you something today. It might sound like pure fantasy. Stick with me, because what I'm about to lay out for you has more legs than you might think. January 30th, 2021. That date changed everything. The trade that sent our franchise quarterback away felt like the end of an era, honestly. But here's the thing about pain in the NFL. It often leads to something better if you're smart about it. And Brad Holmes, our general manager, was brilliant. That single transaction became the foundation for everything we're watching right now. Jared Goff became an MVP candidate. Jameson Williams became one of the most explosive receivers in football. Jahmyr Gibbs is rewriting record books alongside Barry Sanders. Sam Laporta set rookie tight end records. The roster we have today, the success we're experiencing right now, it all traces back to that one moment. But I want you to think about something. Stafford is 38 years old now. He's coming off another strong season with the Rams, but the window is closing. His contract situation is getting murky. The Rams are in a transitional phase, trying to figure out their identity after some key departures, and Matthew Stafford, the kid from Highland Park who gave us everything for 12 years, who threw for over 45,000 yards in Honolulu Blue, who played through injuries that would have sidelined most quarterbacks. He's thinking about legacy. He's thinking about how his story ends. Now, I know what you're thinking. We have Jared Goff. Goff has been phenomenal. 4 straight years of elite production, throwing for nearly 30 touchdowns each season. 5th in MVP voting last. He's our guy. But hear me out, because this isn't about replacing Goff. This is about something much bigger, much more meaningful for this franchise and this city. The NFL has seen this. Legends returning home for one final run. We've seen quarterbacks mentor their success. We've seen organizations bring back iconic players in different capacities. And I'm starting to wonder if there's a scenario where Matthew Stafford comes back to Detroit, not starter necessarily, but as a bridge, as a mentor, as someone who can help this organization finally get over the hump and win the championship that eluded us for so long. Think about the narrative here. Stafford leaves Detroit, wins a Super Bowl immediately with the Rams in 2022. He gets the ring that we could never give him. And there's no bitterness about that for true Lions fans. We celebrated that victory because we love Matthew. We wanted him to. But now, imagine if he could come back and help us win our. Imagine if the player we traded away, the player whose trade built this entire roster, could be the final piece that brings a championship. The financial aspect actually makes sense in a weird way. Stafford's current deal with the Rams runs through this season with some cap complication. If Los Angeles decides to move on or restructure, and if Matthew wants to finish his career, Detroit could offer him a team-friendly deal. Not as a starter, but as a high-level backup with the understanding that he's here to help Goff, mentor the young quarterbacks, and be ready if needed. The salary cap flexibility we have, especially after some of the moves we've made, could accommodate this. Let's talk about what this would mean strategically. Goff has been durable, starting 68 straight games, including playoff. But having a Super Bowl winning quarterback on the roster, someone who knows this organization inside and out, someone who the locker room would instantly respect, that's invaluable. Stafford knows the city, knows the fan base, knows what it takes to succeed in the NFC North. His presence alone would elevate everyone around him. And here's where it gets really interesting for me. Brad Holmes shown he's not afraid to make bold moves, proven he thinks outside the box, trading up for Jameson Williams when everyone thought we'd go defense, selecting Jahmyr Gibbs at 12 overall when running backs aren't supposed to go that high. Every time he's been. So when I think about a potential Stafford reunion, I think about Holmes's track record of zigging when everyone else zagged. The Rams situation is worth examining close. They're $43 million over the projected salary cap for next season. They need to make moves. Stafford has been great for them, but at his age and his price tag, they might need to get younger and cheaper. This isn't speculation built on nothing. This is looking at the realities of NFL economics and team building. And if the Rams do decide to move on from Matthew, where would he want to go? Back to to a rebuilding team, to a situation where he has to carry everything on his shoulders again, or to Detroit, where the roster is championship caliber, where he'd be coming home, where he could finish his career helping city that loved him finally get what we've all been chasing. Oh, I want to be clear about something. I love Jared Goff. He's our quarterback. He's earned everything he's gotten here. This isn't about doubt or concern about Goff's ability. This is about adding a legend to our roster in a way that benefits everyone. Goff would have a mentor who's been exactly where he is, who knows what it takes to win the big game. The young guys on the roster would learn two elite quarterbacks, and the city of Detroit would get to see Matthew Stafford in Honolulu blue one more time. The emotional impact of this move would be seismic. Stafford returning to Ford, not as a visitor, but as a Lion. The reception he'd get from our fan base would be unlike anything we've ever seen. And imagine if we make a deep playoff run, if we're in the NFC Championship or even the Super Bowl, and Stafford is on our sideline helping us get the full circle nature of that story would be perfect. Now, let's address the realistic obstacles, because first, Stafford even want this? He's proven he can still start and win at a high level. Taking a backup role, even with his former team, might not appeal to him. Second, would the Rams make this easy? They might want to trade him rather than release him, and Detroit would have to decide if giving up assets a backup quarterback makes sense. Third, how would Goff feel about that? You'd need complete buy-in from your starter before making a move like this. But here's why I think it could work. Stafford's legacy in Detroit is secure. He has nothing to prove to us. Coming back wouldn't be about reclaiming his spot or showing anyone up. It would be about giving back to the city that supported him through everything, about helping the franchise drafted him finally achieve the ultimate goal. And for Goff, having that kind of support, that kind of experience at quarterback, that's not a threat. That's an asset. The best players want to learn from the best, and Stafford is one of the best to ever do it. Think about what Brad Holmes did with that original trade. He turned one transaction into an entire core of young stars. He saw the bigger picture when most of us were just mourning the loss of our franchise quarterback. Now imagine if he brings that same vision to bringing Stafford home, not as a desperate move, not as a publicity stunt, but as a calculated decision to add championship experience and leadership to a roster that's already knocking on the door. The timeline makes sense, too. This offseason is when decisions will be made. The Rams will need to figure out their cap situation. Stafford will need to decide what he wants in the final year's career. And the Lions will be evaluating how to take the next step after what we're building this season. All of those timelines converge in the same place, same moment. That's not coincidence. That's opportunity. I genuinely believe this is possible. Not probable, maybe, but possible. And in the NFL, possible is all you need to start making things happen. Holmes has the creativity. Stafford has the connection to Detroit. The financial realities might force the situation, and the football reasons, the strategic benefit, they all check out. This isn't fantasy. This is a legitimate scenario that could unfold over the next few months. So now I want to hear from you. Would you want to see Matthew Stafford back in Honolulu blue? How would you feel about him returning as Goff's backup and mentor? Do you think this makes sense for where our team is right now? Drop your thoughts and comments below, because this is the kind of conversation. Stay on top of every development story and every other Lions news. Make sure you're subscribed to Lions News Fan Report and hit that notification. I'm breaking down every angle, every ability, every move that impacts team. This is where you get the real analysis, deep dive stories that matter to Lions. Let's keep this conversation one pride.